Good evening, guys, and welcome to my new channel, A Shot in the Dark Reviews. Basically, this channel is going to be everything flashlight related. I'm going to be doing unboxings like I'm doing tonight. I'm going to be doing in-depth reviews. Going to be doing some really awesome night shots because it's completely black out here where we live. We have a large pasture that I'm going to be doing some really great beam shots in. So this is basically just going to be my personal, completely unbiased, straightforward review of pretty much any flashlight I get my hands on. To start with, I'm doing my best not to be biased, but we are starting with my Grail. This is my personal light. No one has sent it to me to review specifically. In fact, I sold every one of my flashlights to get it. Tonight we're going to take a look at the official unboxing of the Lux-RC FL33. It is an incredible piece. I'm impressed beyond belief. It is definitely my Grail and going to be my EDC as well. So this will be the official unboxing. Some of you have already seen some of the quick example videos I've done of it, but we're going to be doing something a little bit more in depth. So this will be the official unboxing. Alright, I didn't include the batteries that came with it in the box originally, so the batteries are in the light, but, I mean, everyone knows how batteries work, so if you have any questions, PM me, leave me a comment, whatever the case may be. So, I will say, I want to give a shout out to Sam. Sam is the one who is graciously willing to part with this and sell it to me, and couldn't be more thankful. So he packed it extremely well. I do business with him anytime. So this evening, this is what we got. First and foremost, this came with the light. This is what he printed out. I'm going to try to get all of this in here, and if you happen to have an FL, feel free to pause the video and check it out. Basic operations, how the light's going to act when it's got batteries, different mode capabilities. But mode is something that we're going to talk about specifically with this light once we get a little bit further down the road here. Now, I went on the Lux-RC website. Surge makes this much easier than a lot of makers that I know. But I printed off the spec sheet for this specific light. So this is the 3071D R1.2 firmware, and the 371 light engine is just incredible. Feel free to pause if you want to check out the specs more thoroughly, but I tell you what, this thing running at 7.4 volts when you do a series of two 18350s is, it is a lot of output for such a small device. So, again, I didn't put the batteries back in there, but that's no big deal. So, came very well packed. Came in this nifty extra X-Star bag that we have here. And then inside the bag, it was wrapped in this awesome microfiber cloth, which I use to clean the light regularly, and you'll see why. And this is the light. Incredibly shiny finish. %100 tie. I mean, the design is just absolutely incredible. The machining is perfect. The threads are perfect. The seal is perfect. I mean, I can tell the craftsmanship and can understand why only a few of these are dropped every year by Surge, because, I mean, the amount of work that goes into these is incredible. If we look at the head here, you can see this is the Lux-RC Labs. Now, it says it's a gas-filled unit, and that's going to be unique to a lot of the lights that I review. You won't see a gas-filled unit in any light that I know of off the top of my head, other than what Surge makes over at Lux-RC. So the gas inside is nitrogen, I found out. It is there to keep the lens crystal clear. I do believe that's sapphire crystal or hardened mineral glass. I'd have to double check. As you can see, blinking is the amberish red secondary. I wouldn't call it red and I wouldn't call it amber, but it's a good blend of the two. And we'll get to that in just a second. On the bottom, well labeled, all serialized, all made by hand. Now, one of the unique features about this, and we were talking before about UI and modes, this actually has the ability to be programmed via the computer wirelessly. It has an optical sensor built into the head, and that optical sensor does a couple of different things, but one of them allows you to program the light. You go to the Lux-RC website, you sign up, and you have the ability to, in essence, select any style or mode that you please, however many modes you want to add. I have 4 on here now, and you can change many, many different aspects of the light. In essence, you get the light, keep the battery cap unscrewed but batteries in so that the light is effectively locked out, and then you hold the mode button here for a solid 4 seconds, and then screw in the cap, hold for another 4 seconds, and then it will give you an indication, if I remember correctly, this will turn solid, but don't quote me on that. And at that point, it is programmable. Actually, no, I think that it gives a couple of flashes that lets you know it's in programming mode. But anyway, you point it at the screen of your computer and hit a button, and everything that you picked on the website gets translated into what looks like binary flashes, and that goes directly to the light engine and programs the light however you want. So, I mean, really, really nifty feature. Haven't seen that on any other light either. So it's, that's just amazing to me. Also, that optical sensor, it serves a different purpose that we're going to get to here once we engage the light. So I want to show you how I currently have it set up. However, this is fully editable. I have it set up long press on the mode button for moonlight, so it's instant moonlight. And this moonlight is a lot more usable than what I've seen on several different lights that I've had. I'd say it's, you know, maybe 5 lumens. It could, yeah, I'd say in the 5 lumen area. But it is incredibly usable. It's non-invasive. Reading light or get around the house without waking up the wife. It will light up your path in pitch black adequately, actually. So it's a very functional moonlight mode, which I don't see on a lot of lights that have moonlight mode. So we'll click that off. Now, I'm still getting used to the hybrid memory mode that I have it programmed with because I wanted to see what it was like. I don't know if I'm going to keep it yet, but we're going to go through the modes that I have it currently programmed for. The beacon flashing that you see here on the secondary, this is actually a signal. If you had paused the video earlier and taken a look at the printout, this is a signal letting you know the battery is good, the light is engaged, and it's basically ready to do its job. It's also really useful to be able to see it when I have a, a little flashlight cabinet that I keep it in, and if, you're pitch black, it flashes every 5 seconds, so it allows you to hunt down the light if needed. And it's a pretty good, it's a decently bright secondary for a single secondary, so I like that too. So we're going to point it away because I forgot what mode I left it in last, and we're going to flip it on here. Adjust the camera so we can see. Okay. Now this hybrid memory mode that I have set up for, it's an interesting mode because it will show you the mode that you were on previously. That's what it'll instantly go to if you click it. However, if you click to hold, instead of increasing or decreasing the level, it actually defaults back to the first mode that it's programmed for. And that first mode is this right here. This is secondary moonlight. So preserving night vision, being able to find your way in the dark without alerting others or compromising, the night vision that you wouldn't necessarily want to lose when using even moonlight mode. So I really like this. That's why it's the first mode that I have it set to. I love being able to just press the button and have it go right back to that mode instead of having to go through modes. I'm going to play with the programming and try several different configurations, but I do really like this mode. So up from there, and actually real quick, this here is also your battery indicator. This basically lets you know where your batteries are at. If you paused the video earlier, it gives the breakdown on this on the printout, but basically glowing green lets you know your batteries are good. Orange, like it was just showing up a moment ago, lets you know that you're at 50% or below, and then down from there it goes to red, which is basically allows you to run at 10% of the light only, which we'll see here. 10% is the next mode, and then finally it'll flash red when the batteries need to be replaced or charged, basically ASAP, and the light won't function at that point. So very cool battery indicator. I will say it's a little bright when you're outside in pitch black, and it lights up green, but I will, it's easily coverable with your thumb. Also, it stays active for 5 seconds before it then turns back off. So, just like that. So, up from the amber reddish secondary, next mode, that's 10%. And again, this is just for comparisons between the modes. We're going to do some proper beam shots in the next video. But as you can see, it just has a perfectly blended hotspot. You have a little ring around the cornea that shows up on the video, but really doesn't in practical use. Up from here, we're going to go back to the secondary moonlight. Bam, bam. That is 50%. Now, my camera is auto-adjusting, so I don't want you to think about brightness levels at this point, just the different modes that I have it set up for. And then we do first mode, 10%, 50, and afterburner. I don't have a lot of time on this because it just turned red, letting me know that I'm almost out of juice here, so I'm going to show you a quick feature here. That optical sensor also has a pocket safety protector. So let's say you forget to lock it out and you instead have it click on in your pocket. We don't want to be setting anyone on fire here. So that optical sensor also serves as a proximity sensor. So let's say it accidentally clicks on while in my pocket on this afterburner mode that is 3,500 lumens for the record. If then something gets in front of it it automatically goes down to the first mode, which I think is a really handy feature because I have seen Surge in the reviews of his light engine, the 371D, and I've seen him light paper on fire quickly with this. And so that is a really nifty feature, again, very unique to this light. To close this up, I think I'm going to do pros and cons at the end of each video. And I'm going to be as unbiased as possible, even though I love this light. So the pros on this is the tech that's gone into this is incredible. The craftsmanship is flawless. I will say that the shiny coating that is on it, I believe it's some type of DLC coating that is put on the tie. I'd have to double check, don't quote me on that. But it is very shiny and absolutely gorgeous when you haven't been handling the light, but it does collect fingerprints fairly easily. And that is a drawback, but for me, I use my stuff. So every light I get, I use. And so it's not going to bother me. Now, something that does irk me, and it's really my only major objection about this light, is that this light isn't tapped for and doesn't have a pocket clip. So that is a bit distressing. I mean, I understand some of the reasons why that could be. You know, you don't want to, again, scratch the light. It's a concave body, so there may not be good contact. There may not have even been a way to tap this light. I have no idea. But what it does come with is a lanyard ring. Same tie material, but the nifty thing is that it's independent of the light. So that regardless of how you move it or it swings, it sways, etc., it does not affect the tail cap or the battery tube. So impressive. On this, I'm running 18 350 AW batteries that Sam was graciously able to contribute and throw into the deal. Also, there was another 18 650 protected 3.7 volt battery in there. You can run that through this light without an issue, without a problem. However, it does only give you half the output. So, you know, half of 3,500 lumens is still really bright, but afterburner mode, when we get to the beam shots, I think you'll see why I run two 18 350s in it. So, other than that, I tell you, it's just, I'm thoroughly impressed. I've never owned a custom myself, at least not one I was able to keep, and so this is my grail. This is an absolutely magnificent light. It has a couple of drawbacks, but they are heavily outweighed by the pros. One last thing I'll mention, and happens to be a con here. All of those lumens are coming out of this head. This is a very small piece. And I see the amount of light that can come out of this is just surely impressive when you're talking about a head this small, especially with the secondaries and the other sensors that are built into it. But with that, you get an immense amount of heat. So you cannot run this bad boy on turbo for a real long time. You can obviously do a thermal config on it through the same programming website, but I'll say it gets hot fast. The way I have the thermal config set up is it steps down after roughly a minute on turbo. The other thing to mention is that, as you can imagine, running 18 or 800 milliamp 3.7 volt 18 350s in series, that does not allow for a ton of runtime. And so if this light is what you're after, I would imagine that runtime is not going to be the biggest concern, as with some of the other lights that you may go with. But if you run it in the 10% mode, which as you'll see later in the following video, it is very, very functional. And I would say, I'd have to do a timer on it, but I would say that it would last quite a bit of time at 10%. Not to mention also the feature that I have turned on, that at that 10% battery level, it kicks it down and only allows it to run on 10%. So, you know, being that as a built-in mode, it all just kind of flows together. I want to thank you guys for watching my video this evening. If you have a chance, I am told that liking and subscribing and clicking on a little bell is good. So please do that if you enjoyed the video. And I hope you enjoyed checking out the light. It's incredible. Thanks, guys.